What is going on, everyone? I want to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, the pretty of round one in the NFL draft outside of the Philadelphia Eagles. And obviously, we will start off with number one, where Kyler Murray gets selected by the Cardinals and they get their new head coach. So it just felt like this was the move that they were going to make. And I'm not here to say that this is the wrong move. I get the move. I know how talented Kyler Murray is. Here's my issue. They totally botched the Josh Rosen thing. You have reports saying the GM didn't know what he was going to do until about an hour before the draft. Like, whether that's true or not, which it kind of seems ridiculous that that's really the way it went down. But you need to move Josh Rosen before. You lose leverage. And there's reports out now saying that Miami might be snagging in there and going out and getting him for a second-round pick. And if you're the Cardinals at this point, you just got to take it. You just got to take it. But that should have been done way before Kyler Murray was drafted because you have more raise in the stock. Now that teams know you're trying to get rid of them, they have all the power. The teams trying to trade have all the power. And I think the Cardinals totally botched that situation. But in regards to going out and getting Kyler Murray, it's more exciting. I think it's a better fit for him. Josh Rosen, it's too early to give up on him as a prospect, as a player. I mean, he was very solid in college. I think when you take a look at how bad the offensive line was, how bad their receivers were, how bad the coaching staff was last year, I don't know how much value you can put on Josh Rosen last year for the poor team and the poor management that he had surrounding him. So if I am a team like Miami, why the hell not? Yeah, it's a second round pick, and this draft right now is still very deep in that second round, but a quarterback like Josh Rosen, who was picked top 10 last year, no. You go take that chance. You go take that opportunity. The kid has still way too much rawness to him, and he can definitely develop into a legitimate quarterback. It's way too soon to give up on him. So It's more of the way the Cardinals handled Josh Rosen, not so much getting Kyler Murray, that makes me question what the hell they were doing. At number two, the Niners go out and get Bosa. Nice and easy. He's going to help out the team defensively. It's a solid move. You can't go wrong. The Jets getting Quinn Williams. Love that. I loved that kid in college. He's going to be legit, almost like a Fletcher Cox, if you will. And he was praising Fletcher Cox. Jets, great move picking up that player. This is where things get iffy. The Raiders get, oh man, see this is a stretch. This is a stretch, in my opinion, for them to go out and make this move to go get Farrell. They get him at 4. There's way better options at 4. Now here's the thing. He's a good player. You're still getting a really good player, a player that's realistically in the teens type player. To pass up on other options in the same position at 4 blows my mind. It's just a reach. You're still getting a solid piece. But you wasted a 4th overall pick for that player. I mean, Josh Allen is a stud. Ed Oliver, a stud. Farrell's a good player. But at 4... And sticking with the Raiders here, they get Josh Jacobs later in the first round, running back. I like him. I like him a lot. He's someone who hasn't had a lot of wear and tear at Alabama, so he's still got some miles on him. Obviously, anyone at that age is going to have good miles on them, but better than most because he wasn't over-abused there at Alabama, and they lose Marshawn Lynch. I like that pick. That's fine. And they end up picking a safety from Mississippi State, Abram, and that's a solid move as well. It's the one thing that bothers me is the reach at 4 if I was a Raiders fan, but all around, you got good talent. They didn't mess it up to the extreme of the Giants, which we will get to next. So I think there was some reach involved, but at the end of the day, they still got successful players. With the Giants at number 6, we know what they did. They draft the Duke quarterback, Daniel Jones, and it's just the way... I actually listened to New York sports radio today just because I wanted to hear. That's what I do. I'm so in love with sports radio. I like to go around the big media markets when big things happen and hear their reactions, hear how they handle it. And they make a very, very solid point. If you really believe that your quarterback is your guy, you can't play around and not get him. You get him at 6 if he's your guy. They obviously did not manage the situation well. They reached in every single aspect of the draft. No one was going after him. And they say that him and Love was 1A, 1B. If that was the case, you go and get someone like Josh Allen at 6, someone who can be a difference maker defensively on the line, a playmaker, someone who can go out there and be an immediate impact. You go out and get them at 6, and then at 17, you go out and get your 1A, 1B quarterback. They botched the entire situation. They even reached at 17 for Dexter Lawrence. That's a late 20 to 30 overall pick. They reached for that aspect. Then they go out and get Baker, the cornerback, at 30. It's hard for me to hate on that pick, and Dexter Lawrence is a good player, but they reached once again. What they got out of it is a joke, and obviously the 6th pick is being totally ridiculed, but it should be. And you hear Gettleman talk to the media after, and he's saying, well, maybe we take the Aaron Rodgers approach. Maybe we do that. Maybe we sit him for 3 years. Maybe you sit him 3 years. You need to know this. You're the GM. That's something you think about before you take it. And 3 years, Eli Manning's got 3 years left in the tank. Then he talks about how much he loved him and watched him in the pro game, or not the pro game. It's the Senior Bowl, which is similar in comparison to the Pro Bowl, where nobody plays and there's no one actually playing intensely. What the hell is Gettleman saying? It's terrible, poor management out of the Giants, and whether he's the kid or not, it's wrong the way they handled this situation. I can't sit here and tell you that Daniel Jones is going to be the worst quarterback ever, but if I lean towards him being Tom Brady, or if I lean towards him being a bust, I'm going to lean towards him being a bust. You hear all the experts talk about it, and everyone is absolutely mind blown, except for the Giants GM. And poor Pat Shurmur over there sitting in that press conference, he looked miserable. It was such a garbage way that they handled this first round. It's just horrible. It's horrible. And I would say I feel bad for the Giants fans, but being in the division, I don't know if I do. Jags. Josh Allen falls for them at 7. Come on, added to that, I don't think that was their intent. I don't think the Jags were going to go that way. But when Josh Allen falls in your lap from Kentucky, you go out and get that. You go out and make it happen. And that defense is going to be lethal. Add that type of power to that front. Woo! Solid pick for the Jags at 7. I thought the Redskins did amazing. To get Dwayne Haskins without having to move up, to get Sweat later in the first round, I got to give it to them. The Redskins normally aren't this franchise that make the best moves in the world. Yeah, I think Haskins is going to be the real deal. Now, Urban Meyer was talking to the media and saying he has it. He has what it takes. But he might not be ready yet. There's still some more development going on. And that's where you need to value Case Keenum being on the Redskins and how many games he's going to play. And if he's going to get booed out in 7 games and then Dwayne Haskins gets thrown in there without wide receivers, without the greatest running game in the world, with an older Adrian Peterson, it's something that he might need more time than you think to develop. But this is just making me go back to the Giants and this Daniel Jones thing. You need to keep in mind that when he picked Saquon Barkley last year at 2, it's not only is he going to get criticized if Dwayne Haskins works out. It's Sam Darnold that you missed out on because you got Barkley, Josh Rosen, anyone else from Barkley and on to now. Because if he doesn't pan out, you're in some deep, deep trouble as the Giants front office. The Steelers made a big-time move, jumped up big, and it didn't cost them too much, and they went out and got Devin Bush, and he's a player. He's going to be a difference maker on the defensive side of the football, and I think it makes sense in that division with some good running games to get someone who can make it happen there and someone who can really make plays in that position. I normally don't value linebackers to the extent that how do I put this? I normally don't value linebackers that high. It's just not that part of the game anymore. It's not that crucial as it once was. But someone like him, he can be a true difference maker out there defensively. It's a really good pick for the Steelers, who are clearly lacking on the defensive side of the football, so I like that move for them. Here's one that I think, if I could star, I love the most, and it kind of fell right into their laps, but the Dolphins at 13 got Christian Wilkins, and he's going to be a monster defensive tackle. I think that is beautiful. I really do. I think it's a great fit. He's a dog. He's a player. He's a solid player. and I really believe that he is going to be something special in this league. I think he has the talent, he has the size, he has the work ethic, and I think that was a great pick for the Miami Dolphins, and it's a big step in adding to this team from last year. They got a lot of holes to fill, there's no denying that, but I love that pick. I think it fell right on their laps, and they executed it perfectly. They didn't mess up, they didn't overthink it. The Falcons attacked the offensive line in both of their picks. Kudos to them. It's not pretty. It's not sexy. You see the videos of their fan base at the big party there at the stadium, and everyone looked around like, what the hell is going on? That's just comedy to me. But listen, you need the offensive line. It's not sexy. You got to get the job done. The Packers draft 2 defenders. They get a safety, Darnell Savage, and they get a defensive end, Rashawn Gary. They attack the defensive side of the ball, which they've been doing year after year after year after year after year, which is crazy. You take a look at their high picks, and it's constantly defense, defense, defense. They needed to start producing. That's what they need. The Ravens at 25 got Marquise Brown. I like it. He's fast. He's a speedy receiver from Oklahoma. It's a solid pickup. People thought maybe the Eagles were going to make that move, but they ended up not. And the second round is still stacked. Listen, the second round is still up there with talent, and it's going to be very exciting for the second day. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.